wit and humour has really made you famous on the Warrior Form. And regarding you, sort of, you're a well-known internet marketer now. Did you decide that's what you were going to do, or did you stumble into that?
I kind of stumbled into it in a ways, yeah. I gotta say, when I first came on there, I wasn't, it was just my wit at that point. I was having a great time, fun over there, joking around, making fun of, like Edmund Lowe and I would just dig at each other. We've met up a couple times since then in real life, we used to have so much fun. He looked a little nervous the first time I met him. It's like, oh God, it's that guy.
This is the guy I've been insulting.
Yeah. A couple guys from Australia too, when I first met them, they were like, ooh, this is a guy he can put out some pretty wicked insults, right? But no, I had a lot of fun on there, and I would say in a way, I stumbled into it because so many people kept asking me questions about marketing and stuff like that, and also because I saw a need. That's the thing really to look for too, is seeing that opening. I saw the opening. I thought, you know what? A lot of stuff I see isn't very step by step. I like to do things very step by step.
Yes.
Really lay it out. Here's what we do, and I don't like to. I mean, I've been told that some of my courses, for some people, are boring.
Yeah.
I mean, with my video production lab workshop, I've noticed a couple people said it's really dull and boring, and I found the first 10 lessons were horribly boring. Yeah, they are if you already know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that nobody gets left behind. And I actually made an intro video for my new course. Says, look, first part is going to be really boring. Yeah, no, if you know what you're doing already, it's going to be boring. But I really recommend you watching it because there's a couple tips that even people have been doing a long time picked up. But you got to get that across then. But I think, to me, that was the important thing, was to make sure that I covered every little step, didn't assume anything, because I know myself. I used to be really, when it comes to computers and stuff like that, I didn't grow up with computers. I grew up with a skill saw in my hand and stuff like that, right? Fix it with a hammer is my attitude. I even kicked my computer once, which turned out not to be a good idea. But, coming from that background, I think I see things in that way too, and I know that people, and also teaching, you and I both taught English, so we know what that's like, right? You're teaching people, and you realize how sometimes you can't assume that they know what "the" means, right? So if you keep that in mind, you can create a really good product.
No, I had this Canadian friend, and I mean, what he said was kind of horrible, but he said, I just assume all my students are, intellectually, incapable of, he said a spastic, just because it's so much easier if you make that assumption.
Yeah.
You can teach them, and don't mean you guys, but
no, but it's a good idea to think of. I always consider, and this is, no matter what niche you're in, to think of this way, is consider a couple people on your list. Get to know people. This is really, really important. Like, my list, I always call them members. I don't call them my list, really. I call them my members, because I feel that way about them, right? And I've been in contact with a lot of them. I've Skyped, I've even called people. The show shocks the heck out of them. I'm calling from Japan. It's fun just to hear the reaction at the other end. But it's neat. I mean, I've gotten to know a lot of people on my list, and I have a couple people who are like in their 80s and stuff. Who, I had this one guy in England who had never done anything with a computer before. I was talking to him, and I try to keep people like that in front of me when I'm designing something and planning it, because then I realize, okay, now this guy is going to get stuck here. All right, let's make it easier, right? And it's the same thing if you're teaching somebody how to build a house or something. Think of, anybody watch the show with Clint Eastwood and the sheriff who can't build his house? It's all falling apart all the time. Yeah. Unforgiven.
Unforgiven. Ah, yes.
Have you ever watched Unforgiven and the sheriff, and he's just the worst carpenter possible? Well, you think of somebody like that, and you think, okay, now that guy is going to be reading my product or watching my videos. I want to target him. Then I'm going to make sure, I show him exactly. I'm not going to assume you can hit a nail. You say, okay, hold a nail like this and hammer it like this, right? And those kind of, if you create those kind of information products for people, no matter what niche, it's really going to, they're going to enjoy it a lot more, and you're going to get a lot of rave reviews out of it too. And
that'll save you heaps of hours in customer support, because if you cover every sort of possible angle, then you won't have to answer emails. I mean, I think a lot of people need that too, especially that they need that sort of the hand-holding.
Oh yeah.
Because it's kind of scary or daunting when you're online and you start to invest your time and money into something, and then.
Well, anything we're new at, anything that we haven't done before, it's like learning to drive a car or something like that. You need some hand-holding at first. I mean, I learned to drive when I was 10 years old. And I remember my dad sitting beside me, and he taught me to drive in a Willys Jeep. I couldn't put the clutch down. I had to hold, and I wasn't strong enough to hold that clutch down or heavy enough. And there's no way I was going to do that by myself. And he was very patient, which surprised me at times, but he was very patient that time. Even when I ran over the fence post, he put up with that. And having that hand holding there, it gets you through. And it's like that with anything you're teaching. And so, so here we're kind of going into information products as part of, but I think even with a website where you're promoting like anything else, like affiliate products or AdSense, having it and realizing that you want to make it as easy as possible for your visitors. It's like the cooking sites I like to go to. I like ones with pictures. I'm not even going to go if it doesn't have pictures. I want to see what I'm going to be making. And then I want, good, easy...
interface.
And the directions and everything. Be able to print it out and something like that. Take it into the kitchen with me. These are all the kind of things you got to keep in mind always, is design it for your prospect. What is your prospect like, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your business model is.
Yeah, so you got to really take the focus off you and, wanting money and all that, and then focus on helping your...
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Helping. If you're helping people in any way, then that's going to pay off for you. It's like, instead of thinking about, geez, how am I going to make money? How can I help other people? Yeah. How can I help people, and they're going to keep wanting to come back to my website. Right?
I mean, and you hear that all the time. You hear people say, if you help people, you'll make money. But it's true.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental. So,
well, as you remember, there's a point where you go helping, but you also got to monetize it.
Yeah. Don't forget that. Okay, well, let's wrap this up and just, who are some marketers you learn from or admire?
Well, hard to say because I didn't really, I studied some marketers. I remember some in the early days. I'm trying to think of their names now. Jim Edwards, actually, I remember, because I remember the Hawaiian shirt, I remember seeing some of his stuff and, kind of seeing the way he did things. I didn't really study as much as see how people were doing things themselves, right? Jim Edwards, Jim Daniels, I think is his name.
Jim Daniels?
I've seen him online for a long time. I liked his style. I don't know what he's like as a person, but I liked his style of his site and the way he talked on it. So I read some of his stuff.
Even offline, any...
Yeah, offline, Jay Levinson, way back. I remember reading Jay Levinson's guerrilla marketing books back in the pre-internet days, and I just loved that stuff that he put out because it was basic common sense. I like using common sense and coming up with different ideas, like little things like door hangers and stuff like that. Different ways of advertising and how you can basically guerrilla market.
All right, cool. And one more question.
Yeah.
Are there any secrets to internet marketing?
No, there are no secrets really. I think it's more something we should all know as common sense, which is one thing, for like some of the things we just talked about. Yeah. Consistently applying yourself to your business, being persistent about your business, thinking about your customer, not just as a number, but actually thinking, how can I help these people? What can I do for them? And it's basic marketing. Marketing offline, marketing online,
same.
It's all the same. It's just that the tools are a little different. That's all, really.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, you're welcome.
See you again soon.